Hey everybody, Heather from Hooked on Pickin. I am here in the warehouse standing next to pallets, and we want to kind of talk to you about some tips if you want to be a reseller. You ever interested in doing this? Do you feel like you could do this? All sorts of things. Right now though, we're actually got our toes in the sand. We are at the beach on vacation, and being a reseller is one of the reasons why we get to actually do that. So here are your tips. First off, as a huge thank you for always being very, very faithful viewers of our channel, we want to give you a promotional code. Since we're on the beach, we thought having fun, we thought you'd like to have some fun buying on hookedonpickin.com. So go straight to hookedonpickin.com and you can use the promo code BEACH, B-E-A-C-H, and you're going to get 20% off. Yes, every single thing in the store. That includes wind spinners. That includes lawn and garden items. That includes even reseller items. We're going to talk a bunch about being a reseller today. Maybe you want to try some of the platforms. I do have a Poshmark E-book. Gets emailed directly to you. Yes, even 20% off that. So lots of fun things. So use that promo code BEACH, B-E-A-C-H, for all of that. But let's go ahead and talk about what it's even like to be a reseller, and can you even do this job? I know a lot of people struggle with that, like, oh my goodness, I can't do what Paul and Heather do, because if you look around, it can feel a bit overwhelming. This feels overwhelming to a lot of people, but you can get there. So number one I want to tell you is start slow, okay? Don't start here. You'll lose your mind and quit before you even start if you try to buy a pallet with one of your first purchases. All right, you want to definitely start slow. First off, which platform are you going to even sell on? Poshmark, like I said, I have a beginner ebook for you, and even a how to continue your sales ebook. And so all of that is contained in the ebook with video links and directions and all that fun stuff. So if you want to do Poshmark, which is clothing, home decor, things like that, you can go ahead and do that. Mercari is a platform, eBay is a platform, Amazon FBA is a platform, building your own website like we did, it's all a platform that you can use. Which one do you even want to try? And investigate who's done that, and are they successful, and how successful are they, and what kind of products do they sell on those. So first off, you want to learn your platform, and that takes time. Don't frustrate yourself by saying, I gotta have 50 things listed today. I remember having a conversation in one of my consultation phone calls that I offer on Hooked on Pickin, that the person was like, oh, I'm going to try to have a goal of 20 listings a day. And I was like, I don't even do that some days. Like, you got to make sure that it's something attainable. So start slow. Also, another thing with starting slow is ordering. Don't start here. Please hear me. Do not start with a pallet truckload. Do not start with a truckload. Yes, each item only costs 2 cents a piece, but you're going to be overwhelmed, and like I said, you're going to quit before you even start. So start small. We started by basically doing thrifting, going to Savers, going to Goodwills, going to Goodwill outlets, hitting garage sales. But first off, we started with the things we actually had in our home. We sold old college textbooks and clothing. And then we went to auctions and sold things from auctions that we got. Like, we'd get a whole flat of silverware. We'd find one cool spoon that, I remember the first cool spoon sold for a really good amount. We're like, wow, this actually works. You know, we can actually make money. And so start small. So start with a thrifting, then maybe you can jump into like a case, which would be like a box similar to this size, you know, and then you can jump into pallets once you kind of have your process into a rhythm. All right, but starting slow will keep you from losing your mind, also losing a lot of money. Track your expenses. All right, that's another tip. So that's going to be tip number 2 for you. Track your expenses. And a lot of people think about expenses as being what they spend on the product, but that is not everything. So you're also going to have supplies such as, I don't know if you want to scan over and show, we buy boxes. We get boxes from the post office. And so that is an expense. There's Lexi.
She's also expensive.
She's also expensive. We've got tape, we've got paper, we've got filling paper, we've got envelopes, poly bags, all that stuff. And so track your expenses, because it's definitely something that you can deduct at the end of the year when you have to pay all those taxes. Also track your fees. A lot of the platforms that I mentioned earlier, such as eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, Amazon, all those charge a set of fees. and so you need to make sure that you take that into consideration. I remember talking to a friend of mine who was selling something at a really good deal on Amazon, and then when they actually calculated how much the Amazon fees were, they were actually paying Amazon $1.50 every time one of these items sold, because they didn't take into consideration how much their cost was, how much the fees were, and the storage fees and all of that. Fees entail. So just make sure you keep track of those fees, because you can actually deduct those too in your business. And then cost of goods, definitely. How much did you pay for that item? Include your freight charges too, because we got to ship this, and it costs money to ship a whole pallet. And so include your freight charges in each item that's on the pallet, and put that in your cost of goods price. That way you know exactly how much. So track your expenses. It's definitely a needed thing to know, am I really making money? That's why when you start small and you sell things out of your own house, well, your expense is very low because you already own the item, right? And then when you go to the thrift store, you know, I paid $3.99 for this item. You know, so it's not going to be as expensive, and your cost of goods is going to be low. All right, the third thing that I want to talk to you about, and is very important, and one of the things that people kind of take for granted is going to happen, but when you deal with this all the time, it's frustrating. It is making customer service a priority, okay? When you sell on online platforms, there are a lot of people out there that try to take advantage of sellers, okay? And you could get frustrated and just flat give up, okay? Or you can get irritated with someone in the moment, write a nasty email or a snarky email, and suddenly now you've lost that customer that always came to your eBay store to find cool stuff. Or you get a bad rating on eBay, and so now people are afraid to buy from you. Make customer service a priority. Treat each individual like an individual, okay? There have been many times where I have answered emails and I've gotten 3 or 4 snarky emails, and then I get the next email where they're maybe not being nice, maybe they're not being mean, they're just saying, hey, I have an issue with my order, and I want to get snarky back because I've just dealt with 3 other people. But I have to remember, that person is not being mean to me, that person is not being rude to me, and neither was I rude to those other people that were rude to me. I stay very professional. I make sure I only talk about the facts. I don't bring up how something hurt my feelings or how dare you because XYZ. I stick just to the facts, and I stay very professional. And just remember that, because especially on those eBay platforms, Amazon platforms, all that stuff, they track all of that. And when trying to figure out, is it your fault or the customer's fault, they look at your correspondence back and forth. So treat each customer like they're a priority and they're number one. Customer service really is a huge part of being a reseller, and so don't forget that. All right, number 4, and this is one thing that's kind of the most complicated, okay? But it's not as complicated as it sounds. Be creative, okay? The online market and just the selling market in general ebbs and flows all the time. I mean, what sold last month for us may not sell at all this month for us. And part of it is, have you exhausted your reseller community or your market? Maybe everybody who wanted that fidget has bought that fidget, and now you don't need to buy any more fidgets. Okay, you also have to make sure you're always reaching out and getting new customers if possible. So that helps you to be able to move large quantities of product. Also, as a reseller, sometimes we don't want to buy 1,000 of something because we have a smaller market. We want to buy 20 of it and then get something new. So being creative means you always have to put something new in front of your customer, and you have to shift with the changing times. Like, make sure you're selling seasonal well before that season. We've learned with our retail space, we have to be about 2 months ahead of whatever holiday it is. So 4th of July is coming up. We have to have all of our 4th of July stuff out now, which is 2 months away. And so make sure you stay kind of ahead of the curve with seasonal stuff. But then another thing that shifts too is, we were huge sellers on Poshmark in 2019. Huge sellers on Poshmark. We sold tons of clothes, and we were doing very, very well on it. Well, then what happened in 2020? Yeah, a pandemic hit. People weren't going to the office. They weren't buying clothes. They were not basically spending their excess money on clothing. And Poshmark literally came to an abrupt halt with us. And so we had to kind of have to turn on our head and figure out what is different. One of the things that came out of us being creative was our fire sales. And those of you who watch this channel know that we do 2 live fire sales and a live auction every week. And that's what came out of being creative with our reseller business. So fire sales on YouTube might not work for you, but something is going to work for you. Maybe you have a garage sale every weekend. I remember when we went to California to see a cool liquidation place, literally there were people in that neighborhood that had garage sales every weekend because they lived in California and it was always warm and people always garage saled on the weekend. And so find what works best for you, be creative, and don't be afraid to change the plan, because if you're in the reseller business, the plan always needs to change because that's how you stay alive in it. All right. And the 5th thing that we're going to talk about is have a goal and a why. Why are you doing this business? Why do you even want to do it? It can't just be the, I want to make money. Well, yeah, of course that's the reason, but why do you need the extra money? Do you need just an additional $200 a month to help pay your regular primary bills? Do you need to save up $3,000 for your vacation so you can go completely debt-free on your vacation and not feel guilty at all about spending money on it, so you can actually truly enjoy your vacation? Do you have to send kids to college? That's where we're at now. That's part of the reason why we do this business, is we want to earn extra cash to be able to help our children go to college. We have hit the point where we actually now can employ people. And so another reason why we do this business is it makes us available, number one, always for ministry for the Lord, because that's a primary focus for us. But in turn, it's become a blessing for a lot of other people, because now we hire a bunch of people and we're able to pay bills. So have a goal and why. It can be as small as making a couple $100s a month, and as large as, I want to be able to just give to others and be a blessing to others because I have excess, and so it could even be, I'm just going to do it in the short term so that I can purge my house and make a little cash on the side. It could be something as small as that, but have a goal. All right, so our 5 tips are going to be: start slow. Number 2, track your expenses. Number 3, make customer service a priority. Number 4, be creative. And number 5, have a goal and have a why. All right, so thanks so much for joining us, and hopefully it's been fun. Don't forget, 20% off the entire store if you use the promo code BEACH. I'm going to put my feet back in the sand and enjoy my vacation, and we'll see you when we get back, which will be on Tuesday for an unboxing. So thanks so much for joining us, and of course, remember, in the end, Jesus wins. Would you like to make tons of money selling on Poshmark? Well, check out my new ebook, How to Create a Profitable Poshmark Store. Why do we sell on Poshmark? Where to get my inventory? How to create my first listing? How to sell my items? And then, of course, I give you also all my secrets on my top tips. If you'd like to purchase this ebook, just go to hookedonpickin.com or click the link in the description below. You guys are a true blessing in my life. Thank you so much for helping me put this content out there to everyone. If you'd like to join these great people, please consider supporting me through my Patreon page. Check the link below. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. If you'd like to watch more of my videos, just click on them here. And if you'd like to learn more about the reseller world, subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Thanks.